The Justice League is arguably the most popular team-up group of all time, the most inspirational, and potentially the most important. When you think of the Justice League, it's so easy to think of the three people that would belong in it: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. And nowadays, it's even easy for everybody who aren't even comic book fans to identify four people, being the Flash. However, what if the Justice League did not exist? Or what if something happened to the Justice League in which meant the Justice League disbanded? Maybe all of them died. Maybe all of them broke apart. I am attempting to make Justice League teams that aren't acting as any other form of Justice League. They are taking up the mantle and the spots of the original 7. There are a couple of characters that I'm going to list right now that I have to refrain from. I'm not going to use Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman. For the Flash, even though in my versions of the Justice League, Wally is the Flash, I'm refraining from Barry Allen since he tends to be the consensus of the Flash for people's personalized Justice Leagues. For Green Lantern, I am refraining from Hal Jordan and John Stewart. I am also going to be refraining from Zatanna because I know Zatanna isn't often people's idea of being in the Justice League, but I have stated many times on this channel, if I created my own personal Justice League, Zatanna would be on that team. So because of that, I'm not going to use her for any of these lists. For all of these teams, we're going to take this idea that simply the Justice League has died. They are all gone. They're never coming back. Who could properly take up their spots? For Team 1, what I did is a lot of these characters are either the sidekicks of the original heroes, or they were teens or young Justice fighters who grew up and became adults and are now properly enabled to be Justice League characters. This team is Nightwing, Supergirl, or Power Girl. Personally, I prefer Power Girl, so I'm sticking with her there. Donna Troy, Flash, Kyle Rayner, Starfire, and Raven. For the Flash, there's a couple of options here for anybody. You could either do Wally West, Wallace West, the cousin of Wally, or Bart Allen. Personally, with this particular situation, because Wally West is always part of my main Justice League, I'm going Wallace West. Like I said, these are just characters who have been learning for a long time. They were once part of a Teen Titans. They were once part of a Young Justice. They had mentors. They had people who trained them the best they could possibly be, and they were being trained by the best there possibly was. Whereas Nightwing is not Batman, he is the closest thing you could get. Whereas Supergirl or Power Girl is not Superman, they are arguably the best thing you could get. And the same thing goes for the rest of these characters here. I know not necessarily Starfire and Raven have somebody from the original Justice League who was their mentors, although I just have this idea that being part of, say, the Teen Titans helped them develop and grow so much, and probably did have at least a little bit of contact with some of these other Justice League members, that they did learn to be the best they could be. The older these characters get, you do have to imagine that one day their future would rely upon being part of a Justice League team, even if it's not the main Justice League team. For Kyle Rayner, I feel very often that it's always good for a Justice League to have some sort of Green Lantern character. And I always like to think about this with Kyle Rayner and the fact that this would actually help the character be a little more appreciated. I know this isn't exactly the way the Green Lanterns are written. It's just my own mental canon. It's how I kind of think about it every now and then. Imagine for a moment if Hal Jordan is the chosen one. Sometimes he upholds the greatest values of Green Lanterns and sometimes he doesn't. In the future, Kyle Rayner comes around around, and he almost becomes this new front runner. Almost even a situation where the Guardians are like, this was not foreseen. We did not know there would be another human out there who might even be, for lack of a better term, more valuable than Hal Jordan, even though that's not the proper term I want to use, is just a lack of a better term. Now you have this situation where Hal was supposed to be the perfect Lantern, but now Kyle comes in and he's matching that same energy and could potentially even beat him out for that role. That's how I've always seen Kyle. I really like the character, and I think putting him on a Justice League is well fitted. For Team 2, I have Shazam or Mary Marvel, your choice. Blue Beetle, specifically Jaime Reyes, Firestorm, Black Canary, Green Arrow, Hawkgirl or Hawkman. Personally, I am more specific to Hawkgirl. And then Adam, Ray Palmer or Ryan Choi. Once again, I am specific to Ryan Choi. If the Justice League is gone, all heroes who are labeled part of the Justice League International, they all come to a vote, and they vote that this team should become the new Justice League. This is a team who could have already been a team before and is just being elevated to a higher status. I personally like Mary Marvel a little bit more than I actually do Billy Batson Shazam. However, to keep the team maybe a little more popular and to keep it within the idea that Shazam has been part of Justice Leagues before, we're going to keep him part of the team instead of Mary. Even though he's a kid, he can be a little immature. Obviously, stuff like that will change as he gets older. However, as Shazam, he does uphold that Superman status in the sense that when people look at Shazam, they know there is a main man there. Blue Beetle and Firestorm would also be a little bit older here, at the very least in their early to mid 20s. Even if you wanted to make them late 20s, early 30s, your call. Black Canary and Green Arrow, you got two people who know how to fight. They know how to fight on a team. And Black Canary as well is a very good team leader on the battlefield. She may not necessarily be the face of the team, that will likely be Shazam, but she's still good enough to lay out plans of attacks. They're well needed on a team like this that might be filled with some younger people. I imagine Hawkgirl kind of has like the outside planetary connections with her own home people and maybe other civilizations that her home people have allegiances with, if you will. Hawkgirl can be that bridge of people on Earth and other civilizations. Adam, once again, specifically Ryan Choi, imagine the brain power that will be flowing through this team with the combined efforts of Ryan and Firestorm. It's gonna be crazy in there. These are gonna be two guys who could probably solve any situation that calls for their specialties. I think these are all characters who could get along with one another very well. And now for team number 3, I placed Captain Atom, Cyborg, Plastic Man, Metamorpho, Jessica Cruz Green Lantern, Vixen, and Jessica Chambers. This team, the best way I can describe it is as if it's a new era. Maybe the Justice League have been gone for a while. I'm not talking 1 or 2 years. I'm talking 5 years. Over those 5 years, there have been other teams within the world that have operated, but there has been no Justice League. Maybe you can use an excuse, it was too hard to create another version of the Justice League because it simply will never be the same. I don't know. After that hiatus, there is a group of people that say, you know what? We need to do it. We need to keep the world safe from itself and safe from outside threats. Captain Atom is another character that upholds those same values of Superman. He is the centerpiece. He is also the backbone. Cyborg, realistically, you cannot go wrong with this character. He's more than just a computer. He's more than a cyborg. He's more than an AI. His abilities, his powers are limitless. His potential is still untapped. If you want to look at Cyborg from Flashpoint Paradox, he can also be seen as that Superman figure. But then Cyborg was also used as a main Justice League member in New 52, so it can work here. But I do, however, think that Captain Atom and Cyborg would now be seen as the Superman and Batman characters. If you want a comedic effect to the team, the same way that Wally West was the comedic effect for the Justice League animated series, look no further than Plastic Man. Not only is he a little immature, not only is he going to get a laugh out of people from time to time, but he is insanely underrated with power potential. The guy is deadly and has actually done some insane things in comic book history. He is a character worth keeping. And I won't even lie to you here, characters like Vixen, Metamorpho, Jessica Cruz, Jessica Chambers, I use these characters to allow them to have more exposure and to have them appreciated more in a team like the Justice League. Some of these characters have even been part-time members before. Metamorpho has been getting a lot more love over recent history. Jessica Chambers, yeah, she might not be as fast as Barry Allen or Wally West, but at the end of the day, super speed is super speed, and she holds value. Jessica Cruz may not be the strongest Green Lantern out there when you compare her to, say, Hal or John, but who's going to say no to a Green Lantern? Nobody. And Vixen, being able to mimic the abilities of all animals in the world and her connection to the red, that is also something you don't just blink an eye at. That is easily someone you enlist part of your team, no questions asked. So there it is, 3 Justice League teams that I created that could take the spot of the main Justice League squad. I didn't do 4 teams because I didn't want to half-ass another one and not give you appropriate reasons on why I chose who I chose. So considering each of these teams have 7 characters, that's 21 in total. That's a good amount. Now, leave in the comments below, if the Justice League was not around, if the main 7 of your choosing were no longer heroes, or maybe they all died or something happened, who would be your Justice League without using those characters? But with that being said, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.